welcome. You're watching this special broadcast on NDTV, Living Long and Healthy with COVID vaccination. Now, all of us have been dealing with the COVID-19 and the pandemic becoming quite a reality of our lives for over a year now. And the only way out? Vaccination, vaccination, vaccination. We can't stress enough upon it. But we understand there are enough questions on people's mind when it comes to the vaccination process. So in this broadcast, we'll be taking up some of the most commonly asked questions that have been sent to us by you, the viewer, and we'll have experts chosen on the program answer them for you. We're delighted to have with us Dr. Vilas Magarkar. He is a senior consultant and interventional cardiologist at the Seth Nandlal Dutt Hospital in Aurangabad. Also joining us today on the program is Dr. Mukesh Sharma, senior professor, head at the R&T Medical College at the Hindustan Zinc Cardiology Center in Udaipur. Thank you so much, Dr. Sharma, for your time as well. Let me take the first question to Dr. Magarkar there. Let me begin by asking you this. A lot of viewers wrote it to us asking, does the immunity that one gets post-COVID-19 infection last longer than the protection that a vaccine provides?
Yeah. Good afternoon. Post-COVID infection, the immunity starts building up at the end of 1 month of the infection. Antibody level starts increasing till the 3rd month, and gradually from 3rd month onward it starts reducing. Maybe by 6th or 8th month antibody started reduced in a significantly manner. So when the patient caught the infection, there is a less chance of having second infection in these 6 to 8 months to that patient, because that patient is having significant antibody titer. This is not true with the vaccine. Vaccine, the antibody starts developing after 15 days of the booster dose. They are neutralizing antibody. They remain in the bloodstream for 1 year or maybe more than 1 year. And during that period, though patient is protected from infection, but patient can have infection which is asymptomatic or mild form of an infection, but the chances of severe infection, particularly lung involvement, hypoxia, multi-organ failure, are less with the vaccine. And the vaccine-induced protection, vaccine-induced antibodies, they do last long as compared to the infection which is COVID-19 infection. In COVID-19 infection, after 6 months, patient's antibody level drops down and patient can have a repeat infection. It may be due to the change in the viral strain, but as far as the vaccine-induced antibodies are concerned, they keep the patient protected, and even if the infection occurs, infections are almost unlikely to be life-threatening. That is the difference between a natural infection by COVID-19 and the immunity which is boosted by the vaccine.
Next question now from Dr. Sharma. Dr. Sharma, we're talking about vaccines and there is protection. Another very commonly asked question from people is that, should I get vaccinated? What about these new variants that keep coming up? In India, for example, we are dealing with, say, in Aurangabad in Maharashtra as well, in several parts of the country now, not just the UK variant, but a double mutation that has come in. It's a combination of 2 variants, which is said to have a huge impact on people. And that's the reason why we have, in a way, climbed up almost double the numbers, if not double, much more than that in half the time. So will these vaccines currently available in the country work against these new variants? Can you cut that out for our viewers, please?
We all know that these variants are because of the mutation in the virus, and after the mutation they change their spikes and they change their shape. So vaccine may be not so effective against such strains. In the small studies they have shown that this new variants, only the vaccine is protected by 30 to 50% of the persons, not in the tune of 60 to 80%, which is the common efficacy of the vaccine. So various studies have shown, like the South African variant, only 10% patients were protected by the vaccines, which is in the range of 60 to 80% for the general population or the normal variant of the COVID. The good thing is that the companies which are preparing the vaccine in the form of the mRNA or DNA, they can upgrade their vaccine easily. So then this variant will be also effective. The vaccine will be also effective on this variant also. They will change some molecular concentration of the vaccine and they can change the vaccine so that this vaccine will be effective on all the mutants present in the India.
Okay, I have a actually follow-up question to that, and Dr. Sharma, if you can take that as well.
Yeah.
When we say that variants, we know the current variant of the country might not be the last. We might see an outbreak of many more variants come out. So how exactly will the vaccination work in that scenario? For example, the only sort of example in front of us is of H1N1, right? Every time H1N1 hits the country, we see a new vaccine and a new dose being developed. At this time, when it is a global pandemic, how are things going to work?
That's the main difficult task for to fight with the COVID, because until unless we are having you retract the strain, then you especially the spikes of the virus, then you made antibodies for antigens from that, then you again go for a research, then you again combine this with the new older vaccine to the new vaccine. Then every time the virus will change, then you have to start a new work to be effective, to make the effective vaccine against the mutation of the viruses. So it's a difficult job. Each and every time when the virus will have a mutation, you have to change the vaccine.
Let me take that question to Dr. Magarkar as well. Dr. Magarkar, in your experience of working in the area, and now you're seeing a second surge, a bigger surge really of people coming into your hospitals, could you take us through how exactly, in fact, to all those watching right now, let me frame it this way. How important really is the vaccination process? Because this is a second surge in India, where Europe we are seeing a third surge, in US we are seeing a fourth surge. So this just not might be the end of the pandemic. How is one supposed to cope, and how important really is the vaccination process, especially for people like you who are dealing with patients in hotspot areas?
Yeah, vaccination is mandatory. We should, increase the pace of vaccination. Anyone who is above 18 years of age should be vaccinated. Those with comorbidities, elderly, we are already dealing with. More the vaccination we'll do, less are the chances of spread of the infection. Because, vaccine is going to give definite protection for the severe form of the COVID disease to that particular vaccinated person. Apart from that, it is going to help breaking of the chain of transmission of COVID from one person to another. More people vaccinated, less chance of spread of this COVID-19 infection. Another important thing which I need to add, that even right now whatever vaccines we are having in India, we are having two types of vaccine. There are other vaccines available in US, China and Russia. These vaccines are made up depending upon the previous strain. But remember, even with the change in the strain pattern, the mutation which has occurred, these vaccines are enough capable of dealing with the patient's severe infection at least, and preventing the severe form of infection.
Dr. Sharma, if you could take that question. At this time when mental health and physical health overall has seen a major hit because of the pandemic, there are several of those who have had to undergo angioplasties as well, which were postponed due to COVID-19. Because of the surge right now, how long do you think the postponement process can actually take place? And if anybody is considering an angioplasty, should they do it right now or no?
If the angioplasty is essential, or it is patient is having ongoing chest pain, or patient is having the heart attack, then patient should be undergone angioplasty right now or immediately, because it is a life-threatening condition. We can't see every time the COVID conditions. We have to see for the cardiac condition also. Second, to the patient who are having stable patient, who are not having angina, or who are not having chest pain even on the walking for a few kilometers, although they are having a disease in their arteries of the 70 or 80% in the range, but they are a stable patient. Such patient can postpone their angioplasties during the COVID period. But the patient who are coming with the heart attacks or having the, we can say, unstable angina or the minor attacks, they should be dead immediately.
Let me bring the next question to Dr. Magarkar as well. Dr. Magarkar, there are also several questions that come to us, especially from patients saying that, look, we took the first jab, but we got COVID and we became positive nonetheless. Should we now go for a second jab? And since you are seeing more and more patients like that, how do you answer that question?
Yeah, first shot of the vaccine is not going to build up the immunity to the patient. Remember, second dose, and after second dose, 15 days are necessary to build up the significant immunity level or antibody levels in the body. So if someone has taken the first dose and he became positive, he should discuss with the consultant and wait and get the second dose done. Because even if someone is positive, that is not going to rule him out from the vaccination schedule, because vaccination will in fact on the top of it will boost up his immunity. Whatever antibody level which he has in the past because of the previous COVID infection, that those antibodies will be boosted up and the immune system will be further activated and made stronger in order to deal with the subsequent infection. So previous COVID infection is not a contraindication for the COVID vaccination. In fact, they should do the COVID vaccination. If someone is having active infection, someone is having fever, cough, and he's right now symptomatic, then he should wait for the vaccine. But otherwise, past treated infection is not a contraindication. In fact, he should go ahead with the vaccine.
Now, on that note, let's slip into a break. We'll continue with all the questions and bring you the much required answers on the other side. Stay tuned. Welcome back. You're watching our special broadcast, Living Long and Healthy with COVID Vaccination. I'm Sonal Mehrotra Kapoor and I'm in conversation with the doctors and experts to bring you all the answers related to the vaccination process. So we've had a very interesting chat before we went on break as well. Let's continue that with Dr. Magarkar first. Doc, also what I wanted to understand was this entire process of antibodies building. Now, how does the antibodies test really work for diagnosis of COVID-19? And, you know, some people develop more antibodies compared to others who don't have any antibodies after COVID-19. So how does that really work?
Right. As far as the diagnosis of COVID-19, we all know RT-PCR is first. Someone who is having RT-PCR positive, that means he is actively infected. If RT-PCR positive and among the antibody, if IgM and IgG are not available, that means he is in an active phase of infection. In the latter part of this period, like IgM starts coming early, say after 15 days of infection. By that time, the RT-PCR load is antigen load starts reducing. If someone is having RT-PCR positive and IgM positive, IgG negative, means he has started the immunity started building and infection has started declining. Someone is having RT-PCR negative, IgM positive and IgG positive, that means he is recovered from the infection and the immunity started building up. When the IgG is positive and rapid this RT-PCR and IgM, they are negative and IgG positive, that means he has developed the immunity. Gradually these antibody levels start increasing and after some time the antibody starts declining. If someone has noticed that his level of antibody has again increased after a few minutes, that suggests that he has had probably the asymptomatic COVID reinfection, and because of the immunity, he has not had any infections symptoms for that, he remained asymptomatic. So antibody IgM, IgG together clubbed with RT-PCR gives you a proper idea regarding the infection, past infection, ongoing infection, correcting infection and treated infection accordingly. Antibodies are not the only things which are related to the immune system. There are immunity cells also. There are memory cells also.
Oh, you mean the T cells?
T helper, T killer cells. Yeah, so these all things together, it is not necessary that someone is having low antibody, that means he is more prone for infection. It is the antibody titer depends on various things. It depends upon patient's immune system, depends upon the dose which has received, depends upon the duration of infection and the time taken, blood sample taken at that time. So all these things, but the immunity, memory cells, they remember the infection which was there in the past, and those memory cells reactivated when the second infection comes. So antibody is one part of it. Apart from that, there are some immune cells, memory cells, which take part in the entire process of the immunity of the patient.
Dr. Sharma, can you answer that question, please? Fascinating, really, how our body is also learning in the process, evolving in the process, knowing how to really survive this virus. Could you take that and also tell us a bit more about what happens when you contract COVID-19 even after the first jab. How exactly is your body fighting the virus then?
Dr. Magarkar has said we are having certain form of antibodies. Another part is the cell-mediated response. The cell-mediated response is the mechanism which can by the T cells or B cells, and you can't go into tests immediately. And it has been known that for the viral infections, the cell-mediated response is also mandatory to overcome the infection. Number one. Number two, the response of the body when you are getting the infection, the first infection or the second infection. For the first infection, each and every cell will be activated like you have to generate for the memory cells, or you can say that these cells will make a print of these antigens like the virus antigens, and they will form the antibodies. Antibodies will be one is the IgG or IgM, as the Dr. Saab has said. Another is the cell-mediated response. So both the cell-mediated as well as the antibody IgG or IgM, they both will act on the virus and they will neutralize the virus load in the body.
Right.
When the second event of the virus occurs, or suppose you are vaccinated for the second time, then again the cell will reactivate and increase the antibody levels as well as the T and B cells, which are helping the fighting the virus. So when you are getting the infection second time, although it has not been well known that after getting the first infection you are also having the second infection, but we have seen that after the vaccination, even the second dose of the vaccination, the many healthcare workers or doctors are getting the COVID infection.
Right, we saw that in the case of Lucknow. In fact, one of the best colleges in UP, medical colleges, KGMU is
even
where
AIMS
this happened.
Gangaram also.
Right, right. Go ahead, sir. Please complete your point.
So, as sir has already told that when you are getting the infection after the COVID vaccination, the severity of the infection will be low because the vaccine is not providing the protection against the infection. They are providing the protection against the severity of the infection or the severity of the illness.
Right.
So if you are properly vaccinated, even after that, if you are getting infection, nothing to worry. It will be a very mild or very less severe infection, I will use the word, and you will have a less chance of oxygen requirement, or you will have a less symptoms rather, as compared to the person who are not vaccinated. So vaccine is essential. If you are vaccinated, don't forget that you are not going to be infected. You will be infected, but the severity will be very less.
Really big takeaways from this discussion. One, just to answer, if you're still in any doubt, our viewers really about getting a vaccine or getting your shot and undergoing that entire vaccination process, think about this. A vaccine, or both the jabs at least, will not just bring down the effect the virus will have on you if you contract the virus, but it will also sort of cut down the impact it will have if you transmit it to someone as well. So for your own safety, for the safety of your family, your friends, your community, it is extremely important that we all get ourselves vaccinated whenever our chance comes and whichever vaccine really comes our way, because frankly, don't get caught up in the efficacy numbers that this is 90% efficacy, 70% efficacy. At the end of the day, all vaccines prevent against death. That's their primary job, and that's what most vaccines are doing at this point. So to Dr. Sharma and Dr. Magarkar, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate you taking our time in such busy times, and all of you are so burdened with all the caseloads on our heads, and kudos to all the work that you do really. And also, if viewers need any other reason, think about the doctors who've been working under relentless pressure for the past over a year, all trying to save our lives and saving theirs as well. So just get yourself vaccinated, ensure that you are not part of the problem but actually part of the solution. That's it on today's show. We'll join you again on this brilliant broadcast where we try to bring you answers, the much needed answers authenticated by doctors, not WhatsApp forwards, not something that you should doubt, but stuff that comes from qualified doctors. That's it from us. Catch you again soon. Bye-bye.